5, 3.
Red 57! Red 57! Hot, hot!
I don't believe what I just saw!
Bill McKenzie kicks a 38-yard field goal on the final play of the football game.
5 seconds left in the game. Do you believe in miracles? Yes!
It is a great night to be a Mountaineer wherever you may be.
From the home of the state's land grant institution, inside the Health Plan Studios, in the Dale B. Miller Building in Morgantown, it's time for the state's most listened to sports talk show. This is the CityNet Statewide Sportsline. CityNet, cybersecurity experts for the digital age. And now, across the state of West Virginia and beyond, Sportsline is on the air.
Hello again, everybody, and we welcome you to downtown Morgantown Metro News Radio and Television Network Studios. It is the Sunday Night Sportsline presented by CityNet on this 12th day of April, 2026. Travis Jones and Greg Hunter with you until 8 o'clock tonight on this warm Sunday night across the Mountain States as we wrap up another week of sports across West Virginia. Mountaineer baseball team wrapping up another Big 12 series as West Virginia winning the rubber match earlier today in Lubbock against Texas Tech. 10-2 the final score as the Mountaineers win on Friday. Drop a 4-1 defeat yesterday at the hands of the Red Raiders and come back with a convincing win today. So a good Big 12 victory for West Virginia as the Mountaineers bounce back from that UCF loss of last weekend. In terms of Big 12 play, they will host, actually head to Hagerstown, Maryland on Wednesday to meet Penn State in a neutral setting before Houston comes to town next weekend at the ballpark. Got that going on. Football recruiting. Mountaineers have picked up a verbal since we were last together. We'll discuss all that coming up. Basketball roster is being rebuilt as we speak, and it's going to have to be from the ground up once again. So we'll spend some time on that as well. It was a busy week in terms of the microphone for the football team. We've got all the interviews coming your way in our second hour. Good evening, Coach Hunter.
Good evening, Travis. As you said, a little bit of everything going on this week. Mountaineer land and then nationally as well, as the Masters dominating the national sports scene this weekend as they're coming down to the stretch. Rory McIlroy with a 2-shot lead. I think he's got about 4 holes left. Haven't checked. You got the TV on, but I can't quite see the screen. And
he's through 14, I believe.
Through 14.
Yep.
So a few holes left for he. And so that's something we'll keep an eye on over the course of the next hour and 51 minutes as we move forward. And then as you said, a lot of Mountaineer activity, transfer portal, recruiting news, baseball scores. I thought it was a really solid series for West Virginia and Lubbock, taking 2 out of 3 from the Red Raiders. They did get beat yesterday, but you win Friday, you win today, and put up a bunch of runs in each. So good series there. And, women's basketball picking up some verbals as well over time. I guess pure signees as they start their rebuild as well. They're going to have some players back, but they're going to have to rebuild a lot as they try to follow up the success that Mark Kellogg's clubs have had in recent years. So a lot going on, and we'll cover a lot of it over the next, couple hours. And obviously our text line is wide open for anybody who wants to chime in as well.
All right, spring game also, countdown is on, comes up this Saturday as we'll wrap up another spring football season here in Morgantown. And then, of course, we'll spend the rest of our summer concentrating, a couple things. Basketball roster will be, that'll be the next couple of weeks that thing will start to come together for the Mountaineers. Then, of course, we'll head into peeking ahead to the fall.
Yeah, you're right. The one big change certainly over last year is without that second portal window for football, all the news that we were getting in April, May, and June as to who was departing, then who was coming for the football program, that news is going to be largely diminished this year. There is not another window. There always could be addition or two, and there's always a possibility for a loss of a player here or there, but really unlikely that it will be portal losses because, again, there's not another window. So we'll see what happens in that regard if this roster is really stable, but probably 98, 99% of what you have is what you're going to have. Now, there are about a dozen high school players who didn't graduate in time to get here in January to start the spring semester who are going to come in late May, early June. So those will be the biggest additions, but you don't expect any problems there. But, boy, last year they were I don't remember the count, 25 to 30 new players that arrived, transfers that arrived, and that won't be the case this year. So, in an equal number who left, so we won't have to pay nearly as much attention to that.
A bit like the good old days.
Yeah.
Right? You got what you got.
And now we can just focus on football recruiting for the class of 2027 instead of wondering what the roster of 2026 is going to look like.
Correct me if I'm wrong, since you and I were last together in here, you have now seen some football?
Yes. Got a chance. Was it Wednesday? Thursday? I forget what day it was. But, yeah, we did get an opportunity as a media to go out and watch a little over a half hour worth of Mountaineer practice. Now, they had a scrimmage later after we left, so we were just there for skeleton drills, other drills, things like that. So it wasn't, anything that is going to give you a great analysis on what exactly is going on. But I think for the most part, it's our first glimpse at a lot of these players. And, again, I sit there and I try to make some snap judgment analysis on guys, and 90% of that will turn out to be wrong before it's all said and done by watching a guy go through one drill. But still, got to see some people do some things. And at least it was good to finally see football.
Well, you got 10 wins?
Yeah, at least.
Yep.
And I will say, and I've said this a couple of times, I know the spring game isn't exactly, an exhibition game like the NFL has in the preseason, at least some of those early ones where they actually are playing, starters. But I did think that last year's spring festival was much more pure football than we'd seen out of West Virginia in quite a while in the springs. Those things have become really devalued in recent years, not just at WVU, but across the country. Now it became playtime, or let's do a few drills, let's have some fun. It was still some fun activities, but I thought they put the football down and played some last year. You actually got to see some things. So if indeed Coach Rodriguez does that again this year, I'm anxious to see exactly what they do. Start again, for those that don't know, this coming Saturday, starts at noon. Admission is free, but you do have to get a ticket through the ticket office by getting a QR code on your phone. So log on to wvugame.com, request whatever you want in terms of a ticket. Like I said, they're free, and you get the opportunity. You'll have, starting at noon, about an hour and a half of Mountaineer football. We'll see what that entails exactly, but if it's like last year, I think you'll be able to actually see some things. And those that are country music fans, that will be followed by a concert from Jake Owens, who is, a pretty well-known country music performer. So it's not like Travis, you and I put together a little band and got out there. This is somebody who actually has performed, and had people will know his songs. So I think that's a nice opportunity. And I've been to spring games for many, many years. I don't remember a concert after a game, and certainly nothing like this. So I think that's a good little twist to try to get some people out there, and all that's free too. Just sit in the stadium and watch football, hang around for a little while longer, and watch Jake Owen perform.
Weather-wise, on Saturday, I know that I looked earlier, the temperature is supposed to be good most of the week. Cloudy. Well, again, this is Saturday, 6 days out, so take it with a grain of salt. But cloudy, occasional rain showers, and a high of 87. So we'll take the 87. If we could lose the occasional rain, be in pretty good shape.
Yeah. No, and boy, has there been nothing more unpredictable than spring game weather.
Sunday's high is 56, by the way.
Yeah.
So if they miss it by a day.
Yeah. So I remember, I think it was one of Rich Rod's early spring games when all of a sudden a snow squall comes roaring in. So if we can get, and there's been plenty where there's been rain. I mean, it's April in West Virginia. You're going to get what you get. But if you can get that kind of forecast and that becomes a reality, boy, that'll be wonderful.
Very good. All right, we'll talk some football coming up here in the course of the show tonight. As we mentioned, got a commit in the fold for the class of 2027 now. And we'll discuss that coming up in just a moment. Also delve into what Coach Hunter saw in that 30 minutes of live football that he was able to take in drill-wise. 304-TALK 304, the phone line, 800-765-8255. Also, we'll talk about the Mountaineer basketball roster. West Virginia continues to be knee-deep in the portal, and we'll discuss that coming up as Ross Hodge looks to rebuild this team for the second consecutive year. We'll do all that coming up. Phone calls as well. 800-765-8255 is the phone number as Rory continues to lead by 2 strokes at the Masters. He's currently on hole 15. Scotty Scheffler currently 2 strokes back, as is Justin Rose at 11 under. And those 2 gents are on the 16th and 17th hole, respectively. Sportsline continues. Back in a moment.
Getting ghosted is never fun, especially by your network. Cyber threats don't announce themselves. They slip in quietly, disrupt operations, and disappear before you know what happened. CityNet's cybersecurity services provide proactive monitoring, threat detection, and expert response, so your business stays connected and protected. Commit to a relationship built on trust and reliability. Learn more at citynet.net today. And remember, CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to wvmetronews.com to apply. That's wvmetronews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide sports line returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
With Metro News Hotline, if it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have 2 vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Absolute
Sportsline continues, 621 across the Mountain State. Thanks for joining us. 304-TALK, 304-800-765-8255 on this Sunday night. And Coach Hunter, West Virginia, has picked up another verbal for the class of 2027, this time a linebacker from, well, kind of a new Big 12 country out in the state of Utah.
Looked around. I didn't go horribly in depth, but I went a little in depth. But this is the first commit that I have seen for Mountaineer football from the state of Utah that I can find. I've got to go a little bit more in depth to assure myself of that. But Bronx Baker commits to West Virginia a couple days ago, a speedy linebacker from a high school about 40 miles west of Salt Lake City, and was really a nice get for West Virginia when you look at not just distance, but because getting a player to come that far is impressive enough. But who had offers from a lot of really nice schools. I mean, Michigan certainly one of those that was heavily involved with him. So you take a look at him. And, he's not huge, 6'1", 215, but runs really, really well. You watch his tape, that's the thing that stands out to you first and foremost, is this is a kid that can run. And played mainly will linebacker in high school, and you could see him there. He's the second linebacker West Virginia now has in a class of 27. So it is certainly a need area as you start moving forward for West Virginia towards 27. They got a few linebackers in this year's class, but it's not an overload in terms of numbers there. So 2 so far, you're probably going to need a couple others in this class. And, of course, the other thing you never know is what your attrition rate going to be there. But so far it looks good for the linebackers, and it looks good for the class of 2027 overall, though obviously there's still a long, long way to go with this class because they won't sign until early December. And, now the job for some of those kids is to hang on to them. Mm-hmm. But you do like what they've gotten so far. And it is amazing how early it is. You're in April and you're already getting a lot of commitments. And the heavy commitment rate that we've seen will continue really through the end of June, maybe early July. Then things will slow down. And they'll still come over the rest of that time. But for the high school guys, this is the time they're now taking visits. So that'll continue through the camp period in June. So that's when you get a vast majority of your commits.
Go back to his offer list. I found a couple of things interesting. One, his list, as you mentioned, impressive. Michigan, Kansas State, Arizona State, so a couple of Big 12 schools. Mm-hmm. Cal, Virginia Tech, Boise, Oregon State, Washington State, UNLV. Those were his listed offers. Mm-hmm. No Utah. However, he was recruited by Michigan by Alex Whittingham, who's Kyle Whittingham's son, who, of course, now is on staff with him. Yeah, mm-hmm. So kind of interesting there that they don't Utah, at least, the list that's been reported. Yeah. Utah did not offer him, nor did Utah State, who may have thought that they weren't going to get him anyway.
At one point he had been, and this is a while ago, like early fall, so he was committed to Cal. But soon thereafter backed off that commitment, apparently kept the Bears still on his list, but started to look around and really had been listing West Virginia for quite a while now. And took a visit not long ago to West Virginia, and boom, quickly thereafter announces his verbal to the Mountaineers. So again, second linebacker, 5th overall player, Mason Kurovac from Olmsted Falls, Ohio, is the other linebacker. That's right outside Cleveland. Mike Gansey's alma mater. So is the other linebacker in this class. But again, very early with just 5, but a class that setting up well so far, mm-hmm. but obviously a lot to go. I mean, West Virginia ended up with over 40 high school and junior college players in this past class. I don't know, you hope you don't reach that number again, because that means you've had a great number of losses along the way.
Yep.
But again, those days of saying, oh, they're going to get 25 or 22 or whatever, those are over. You're getting, 30 or more. And the nice thing about that is the more high school kids, that means there's some retention. The coaches feel good, and you don't have to rely quite as much on transfers. And you're always going to need transfers in today's world, but I do think people would rather see the signing and then the retention and ultimate development of younger players.
Yeah, well, I mean, a couple things. You don't know where I think it's probably more unclear now than it's ever been where the eligibility and the transfer portal and all that is going to end up when guys like, Baker and Webb and Hayes and Prince and some of these guys of the 5 in this class, once they get here and they've got a year under their belt, will it be the one transfer they're allowed? Will that be, we know the NCAA is also looking at their own potential eligibility rules. So it looks like finally we're getting that piece of the problem headed in the right direction. Still got a lot of legal loopholes to jump through, certainly, before we get to the ultimate place I think everybody that loves college sports wants it to be in. But at least for once, you feel like you're headed in the right direction and have some optimism that something eventually might break. And I do think this puts West Virginia, a program under Rich Rodriguez that really didn't abandon the high school retention, building, maintaining mindset, albeit only a year plus, but that falls right in line. Hopefully, if the things go the way that we hope they do, Greg, in terms of what the new rules will be at the end of all this, that West Virginia has been in line with that all along.
No, you're right. And Rich has stated it since he got here. His first year, it was more heavy transfer portal guys just because it was a necessity. This past year, there was certainly plenty of portal guys as well, but there was a huge mix of high school players also. So trying to get those and be able to retain the top level of that as well. He said many times that's what he wants to do. He wants to have a mix of transfers, but mainly high school guys. So we'll see. It is very interesting, and I know President Trump has put out his executive order, but who knows what legality that ultimately will be able to get through with the court system. But and I'm not certain the NCAA, which also now is starting to formulate its own rules that somewhat mimic what the president's executive order talks about. But who knows if it can pass legal muster as well. But I do think if you start to see that, that's interesting. And we haven't really talked extensively between you and I about what you think of the 5-for-5 rule, where you now have 5 years of eligibility. You can play 5 seasons, but there are no more red shirts available. Medical, non-playing,
no waivers, nothing.
Yeah, no waivers.
5 years from what, your 19th birthday, I think?
Yeah, so there is a age limitation in there as well, either when your high school class graduates or your 19th birthday. So a little bit of that is a caveat towards the European players because their high school background is a little bit different than ours. So you put the birthday in there as well, not just Europeans, but any of the international players. So anyways, I like that rule, the 5-for-5 rule. I'm like, okay, I just want some rules that actually have some teeth and stand up. So I don't know what you think.
1,000%. I mean, beggars can't be choosers. Yeah. I would not mind seeing a medical. I don't mind the way that it used to be, and that was where medical red shirts were legitimate medical red shirts. If a kid, blew his knee out and was eligible for a medical red shirt, could obtain one. I didn't mind that. Again, it's just gotten completely out of control. Now it's, you have a hangnail and you're trying to take one, or They
try and take 2 or 3.
Trying to take 2 or 3, or even I don't even like the whole you can play a percentage of your games and still redshirt situation. I know that it had good meaning, good intentions behind it, because it does give a freshman an opportunity to get a little taste and then not burn the red shirt. But I think it just again muddies the water. If we could just get clear rules, as you said, that are easier to enforce, and more than anything, if we had some consistencies in the rulings, that would help. Because how many times have we seen, oh, this is a slam dunk?
Yeah.
And then they get ruled against.
Yeah.
Or this kid's got Jasper Floyd.
Yep.
In the transfer portal. Well, he's going to have to get a waiver to get another year. You and I sit here tonight and think, no way. No way he's going to get another year. Well, it wouldn't shock me if he does.
No, I mean, because it's based on his junior college background. And I'll tell you right now, West Virginia is in the market for a transfer from Providence named Jason Edwards, who just by looking at the various resumes is identical to Jasper Floyd in terms of 2 years of junior college followed by 3 years at a 4-year school. Both of them have that same background. Jasper Floyd now puts his name in the portal, and a little bit surprisingly, because I'd asked him in the preseason, hey, me reading this, you may have an extra year, because they're not always counting those junior college years against your eligibility. And he said, oh, I'm not interested in that at all. Well, okay. 5-6 months later and NIL opportunities later, everybody's allowed to change their mind. And that doesn't mean that he gets to play next year somewhere, because it is going to need to be, he's going to need the waiver. But Jason Edwards is to me, a very similar situation, in West Virginia certainly involved with him as well, hoping that he can get the waiver. And I don't think, Jasper Floyd is a great kid. Whatever happens with him, great. But it is odd, because I think most people think he doesn't have a chance. But Edwards does. And I just trying to read between the lines, I don't really see much of a difference in the two.
Yeah. Yep, gotcha. All right, let's talk basketball. When we come back, we'll jump into what is remaining on this roster and talk a little bit about Miles Sadler. He had just another crazy, impressive weekend.
Yeah.
We'll talk about his night last night. One bit of portal news from today with West Virginia ties or state ties. A young man by the name of Boubacar Jijo, who's also from the Cleveland area, who played at Concord this past year, was the Mountain East Conference Defensive Player of the Year, averaged 16 points and 14 rebounds per game, shot 58% from the field. He went in the portal officially less than a week ago, and he is verbally committed to Marshall today. So making the move from Athens to Huntington. All right. We'll take a break. 6:35. Sportsline continues in just a moment.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan. We are here for you.
Running a small business means wearing a lot of hats, and dealing with tech problems shouldn't be one of them. CityNet helps West Virginia businesses keep their technology running smoothly, from networks and computers to backup, security, and day-to-day support. Whether you don't have IT staff or you have a small team that could use extra help, CityNet can take care of the technology or work alongside your team to fill in the gaps. With proactive monitoring, fast local support, and solutions built on CityNet's fiber network, your business stays productive instead of reactive. Call us at 1-844-CityNet to get started.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Patients who have allergies and sinusitis, they have worse quality of life on many levels. At the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center, we provide all the most recent technology in office procedures to help patients who cannot breathe through their nose. Patients come in, within half an hour they can leave. Whatever problem with the sinus and allergy you're having, we can help you get the right treatment.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
Download Metro News Television on your iPhone or Android. Search Metro News Television in your app store. Create an account today to get alerts and watch all live and archived content. Download now.
Touchdown! You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at WVHTF.org.
Sportsline continues. Rory's got this one all but locked up, 2-stroke lead, and everybody that was chasing him is done, with the exception of Cameron Young, who he's paired with, and Young is 3 strokes back as they go to, I believe, the 18th.
Yep, they're through 17, so they're now on 18. So, like I said, no, I could lose a 2-stroke lead, no problem. But
yeah, you and me both.
Yeah, Rory McIlroy. They again, this course has so much trouble that you never say never. But you certainly would rather be him than anybody else.
Yep, no doubt. All right, Mike in Charleston. Mike, good evening, sir.
Good evening, Jim. How are you doing?
Good. How are you?
Good. Pretty excited with this portal transfer and recruits coming in. Monday the 6th, they had approximately 1,200 young women got into the portal, and I understand it's only going to be a 2-week deal till the 20th. My opinion, just real quick on that, is that it accelerates the process of building a roster. I think the less time to make decisions and stuff. But that's just my opinion. Looks like though Mark's really on this journey pretty quick as far as bringing recruits in. He's, tomorrow, like I say, will be a week, and it'll be he's got four girls coming in. He's got coming back. He has Gia Cook, Madison Parrish, Logan Johnson, which I hope she stays. Riley and Carter McRae. Brought in George Mason, guard forward Zaria Zaza Walton, and he's got a center, which I like. Kyla number 2, I'm going to say UCF, 6'3". Had several 20-point games, averaged about 8 boards a game. And then he's got the pit forward, redshirt freshman, Divine. I'm not going to pronounce the last name, but they can call her Tumba, Tumba, along with Shantae Murray.
Yeah, freshman from Canada. Yeah.
Correct. Right. Yeah, I mean, my understanding was when I was at the tournament, talking a little bit to some of the coach, length and athleticism. And I think they did very well. Other than Gia Cook, Hunter, you're looking at a very tall lineup.
Yeah, you are. Though those quick guards that may have been smallish have been so successful, it is going to be a different formula for them. But, admittedly, everybody you look at when you, especially Division I recruit, you're going to go, oh, they look pretty good. They look pretty good. But the George Mason wing Walton.
Right.
Yeah, Walton.
She looks really, really promising. I mean, she's a senior, so you're going to have her for 1 year, but really highly regarded. And I think could be a huge factor for West Virginia. Again, just based on, looking from someone from the outside. I'll have to talk a little bit more extensively to Coach Kellogg to see what he thinks.
Okay.
But
all Atlantic 10 last year.
Yeah.
18 points, 6 rebounds, 2 steals per game. So I think she kind of fits the mold of their style.
I think right. I think we all agree that he finds good players. When you first look at it and you see where he's got that, like the center, for example, we're losing Thomas, but you're getting more of a mobile center in Kaya. Can move around a little bit, shooting 48% from the field. Like I said, she's had high-scoring games. But, again, what you got to realize, too, is in Mark's offense, everybody is different. I mean, Gia Cook flourished, I think, in his offense.
Mm-hmm.
Who would have thought Harrison back in the day when they recruited her, 5'6", 5'7" guard, and she's really turned out to be a fantastic player. So I trust the journey with Mark. I think he just picks the right players. He's got 9 now in the roster.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you think? 2 or 3 more, maybe a couple shooting guards, maybe whatever. I don't know.
One thing I'd really and again, as you said, you trust him because he's obviously got the track record, knows what he wants. But West Virginia's had that. I mean, just defensive stalwart guard from Jordan Harrison through J.J. Quinterly.
Right.
And even Sydney Woodley could fit that mold.
Right.
I'd love to see another one of those. So, I mean, you always want all the length you can get, but that pure pest at guard and in the backcourt. I don't care if they're 5'2", like Jordan really was. But give me another one of those, and then everything else, I think he'll have the recipe for another very solid year.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I agree. I think you got to get balanced scoring and so forth. And before I go, I got to say, from a negative standpoint with this transfers and portal, you got to feel bad for Caldwell for Tennessee. Decimated her roster completely, including the number 2 recruiting class she had last year. I think she may have 1 player left. I don't know whether dissension on the team or whatever happened, but I feel bad for her. And then Iowa State lost several players too, including Crooks, Abby Brown, and Jayla Williams.
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of teams were hit hard. So it's going to be interesting to see how it plays out. And the coach may pick up a few more from the Big 12. We'll see. Anyway, thanks a lot, fellas.
I appreciate it. Yeah, and kind of teeing me up to a couple of points there. One, I wanted to make on the UCF center, Gadu, that West Virginia had 21 points and 9 boards against the Mountaineers earlier this season. So that's kind of, that's the new reality that we are in college basketball, that a lot of times you can be lit up by a player on a given night. And, guess what? You might say, oh, you know what? This is the best possible recruiting we can do. This young lady or young man had a good night against us. They look pretty good in our uniform.
Yeah.
So that's
funny you say that. On the men's side of things, Jonathan Powell, who was with West Virginia a couple of years ago, was a nice true freshman for the Mountaineers, a shooting guard who could really shoot it. Left West Virginia after 1 year, went to, because he was on a Darren DeVries team, went to North Carolina this past year. Saw regular action, wasn't a starter for them, but saw regular action. But hit the portal again. He's now at Pitt. So he's going to be on both ends of the backyard brawl.
Yep. He'll be real popular in that matchup. Hey, the other thing about, Mike mentioned that I think the Tennessee situation was unique. There was some locker room dissension there. Those girls didn't want to play Caldwell style. She admitted that she gave in, which was a mistake. And so she's going to have to rebuild the thing. Not seeing the roster demolition on the women's side as much as you are the men. You're still seeing, teams are still losing some players. But I just saw a tweet the other day, and I saved it. Power 5 teams who haven't lost anyone who averages 5 0.0 points per game to the portal as of yet, and this was from 3 days ago.
Mm-hmm.
There were 19 teams in
out of 300 and some. Oh, Power 5. Power 5.
Right. West Virginia was included in that.
Mm-hmm.
So the point, and we saw that there are players, men's players, who average 2 and 3 points a game that are going to the portal, and they're wanting $1 million in the portal. You're not quite, and I don't know if you ever will, but you're not seeing the lure as much on the women because the money's not as big. Audie Crooks probably will be one of the richest acquisitions out of the NIL that we have seen maybe ever on the women's side. She hasn't landed anywhere yet. But, she's going to bring a pretty penny. I just can't – I hope it leaks because I'm so curious to hear what that number is going to be.
Yeah.
What the Iowa State Center will bring.
She's got such a unique style. She doesn't fit just everywhere.
No.
Well,
she doesn't play much defense, but she just does so much for you offensively.
Oh, absolutely. But I don't think she'd fit for West Virginia, for instance. But those that want her, there'll be a market. There's no doubt because she's almost unstoppable if she can get the ball in the post. But you're right. I mean, it is a different market for the women than it is the men. But there's movement, and you know what? I mean, Tennessee's women got whacked, and we pay a whole lot more attention to them now because of Kim Caldwell's head coaching for the Volunteers. But it's still Tennessee women's basketball. They're going to get players. Yeah. I'm not going to feel too sorry for them. I'm going to wait and see what their roster looks like because I'll bet you she rebuilds it. And now she'll rebuild it with some women that want to play her style or willing to play her style.
Yeah. Well, yeah, and she's going to have to, and she's going to have to win next year because she'll, that's, again, we knew when she took that job, that's a whole different level of pressure.
Yeah.
You win 20 games, they fire you.
Yeah.
It's for them, it's Final Four, Elite Eights, or you're out. All right, speaking of roster implosions, and again, we knew what it was. We knew West Virginia was going to take heavy graduation losses with this team that won the crown. As we sat here last Sunday, Greg, we had the conversation about, the two guys you'd wanted to retain for sure off this roster, Amir Jenkins, who's got the injury issues. We're not even sure what his status will be for next year, and DJ Thomas, who came on at the end of the season. Unfortunately, Thomas goes into the portal early in the week, so you're batting 500 right now, at least on those twosomes. So, again, you're back to basically, for the most part, rebuilding this thing.
Yeah, I mean, you knew that. I mean, most programs each and every year, or you hope you don't have to start completely from scratch. But I mean, Travis, it is free agency each and every season in college basketball, and your head coach of your school's got to look at his roster, and everybody's got a finite cap number within their program, right? Okay, the cap number may be different from this program to that one, but everybody has their own number, right? So you may have to look at DJ Thomas and go, this is what he's worth for us. And
if somebody's willing to pay more, so be it.
Yeah, thanks. Yep. Loved what you did for us this year, but we can't afford more than this because, truthfully, West Virginia's going to have to pay a whole lot for Miles Sadler they're having to pay to get him.
You're going to have to pay to get him, then you're going to have to pay to keep him if he ends up being as good as you think he's going to be.
And certainly there's some others in this transfer class that West Virginia is heavily pursuing that are going to need big numbers as well in terms of just outright resources, pay, whatever you want to call it. So somebody else is sitting there telling DJ, or at least telling his people, we can give him more than that. And it just like, if you're a pro athlete's agent or a pro athlete GM, you got to say, you know what, that's a bigger number than we can deal with. Thanks. We got to move forward. You good luck to you. And that's going to be a common occurrence. It already is in college athletics. You can hope you retain some.
Speaking of that, so a couple things. One, I primed the pump that in case you missed it, Miles Sadler had, fresh off an impressive high school national championship weekend where his team won the national title, and he scored and he assisted and he did, just about everything you can do on a basketball court. He plays last night for Team World against Team USA. And they did this on the women's side as well in girls basketball. And he finishes with 29 points, 7 assists, 4 rebounds, 2 steals, 10 of 18 from the floor, 3 of 5 from 3, 6 of 10 from the line, so he'll fit in here. And just was very, very, very impressive. It has been. I mean, every time we've had a chance to see him on national television, he looks as college ready to play for a freshman that I've seen in a long time.
Oh, yeah. I mean, there's no doubt that he's had a great run as of late. And again, we said it when he was facing off against, Mount Verde and IMG and some of the ones that he was playing in the prep school tournaments. And that was before this U.S. versus the World All-Star game. This is prime level basketball for prep schools, high schools. So he's not doing it against just anybody. And so to do that against the cream of the crop leaves you really hopeful that things are going to be just fine once he gets here, and he's going to live up to all the accolades. And, West Virginia's going to need, his ascension from what, Brad House said the other day, has basically chased off another recruit that West Virginia had that was a good-looking player in Kingston Whitty, but I think he had the thought process, and probably rightfully so, that, this Miles Sadler's kid's going to be really good. I don't know what my playing time is going to be like at West Virginia, so I may need to look around elsewhere. And he's decommitted and pulled his letter of intent. It's not called letter of intent anymore, but you get where I'm going, and is going to search for a new home. So, but he hopefully he's nearly as good as everyone thinks, because he's been really, really good through this run that most of those games are on national TV. So a lot of people have gotten a chance to see him.
Hoping to get him a running mate at guard, according to reports. Finley Bizjack is visiting Morgantown this weekend. He spent his career at Butler out in Indianapolis, Indiana, where he had a very, very, very good season. Butler was riddled by injuries, and Bizjack stepped to the forefront and was one of their top scorers on the season. Had 30 at Providence earlier this year. That was his career high. He's already scored 1,000 points, or did score 1,000 points in his Butler career. He didn't like Providence too much. He dropped 26 on him in the first meeting, but a very consistent guy for the most part. He's a double-figure scorer night in and night out. Did have some off-shooting nights, but that happens. But, ton of 20-plus point games, and he's a Texas native, 6'4", 190 pounds. So,
yeah.
But West Virginia in tall company for him. There's a couple SECs and schools in on him. I believe Kentucky's also involved.
Well, that's it. I mean, in transfer market, if you're going to go after guys that have nice resumes like that, you're going to face plenty of competition. But West Virginia's involved with dozens of transfers, and a lot of them, just on a glance, look like they can really help you real quickly. We mentioned Jason Edwards earlier. West Virginia did pick up a commitment from a transfer just the other day, not a shooting guard, but a forward. Comes to West Virginia from Boise State, Javon Buchanan. Looks like originally from Indiana, had a really nice 2 years at Boise, started his career at the NAIA level. Spent 2 years at NAIA, moved up, and spent the last 2 years at Boise. Like we were talking earlier, because of his background, NAIA in the past has gotten the those that have played at that level waivers because it wasn't the NCAA. So those years don't count against you. So you can go and play at an NCAA school. So he'll need a waiver, just like Jason Edwards will if he ends up committing to West Virginia, or just like Jasper Floyd will if he goes somewhere else. He'll need a waiver if indeed he is eligible for West Virginia next year, but he has committed to the Mountaineers as well. So that's a forward that West Virginia hopes that, the waiver process comes through, and he's a big factor for the Mountaineers next year.
Yep. All right. Very good. We'll take a break. It's 4 till the top. Scotty Scheffler finished second. Rory did come back by a stroke on the 18, but wins the Masters by a stroke at 12 under. 1 under his round today. So I believe that's is that Rory's second Master win?
Second in a row. One of, they said it was 4 that have won back-to-back Masters. So it's an incredibly rare event.
All right, break, and we'll return. Again, we got football conversation coming in the second hour. We're back after this.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Worried about paying for college? Metro News is proud to present the 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program, where one high school junior in West Virginia will win a full scholarship to West Virginia Wesleyan College, including room, board, tuition, and fees. For details, go to wvmetronews.com and click the Apply Now button. Deadline is May 3rd. The 2026 West Virginia Scholar Program, presented by Greer Industries and the West Virginia Hospital Association. Go to wvmetronews.com and apply today by May 3rd.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You own a boat because you love spending time on the water. Choose the outboard that allows you to make the most of it. Honda Marine's legendary reliability, ease of maintenance, and powerful performance keep you going strong. And they're all backed by the peace of mind protection of the industry's best limited warranty. Visit your Honda Marine dealer today and find out why it's more than an engine. It's your time on the water.
Stay connected to what's happening today in West Virginia.
What about this and what about that? And it just went back and forth. And I was just the guy reading the text. Okay, so what's your take on the whole thing?
Well, now you just get me fired up. Now you just
so I'm gonna turn on. I'm gonna run down to Wendy's and grab a burger, and I'll be back.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
Sportsline continues. Let's grab some texts here. And again, we'll hear from Rich Rodriguez from earlier this week. A couple coordinators, some players, and all that jazz on the way in our second hour of tonight's show. Stephen Philippi writes in, hey guys, good to see Jason Day playing well at the Masters. I see him at Pete Dye in the Nationwide Tour in Bridgeport. And the 79 has shot playing in Division I. Oh, the 7'9" has a shot playing in Division I.
A big kid from Florida.
Yeah.
I think he's transferring. We'll see. I don't think he played a whole lot for the Gators.
No, he didn't, and I saw he wants $1 million. That seems to be the sweet spot.
Yeah.
Jason Day, by the way, finished 12th. Had a rough go of it today, +3. So fell about seven slots down the final leaderboard today. But
yeah. Joe Percato told the story the other day. He said Jason Day was playing at Pete Dye in Bridgeport when the Nationwide Tour was going through there, and Joe said they used to have the media caddy for players on like a Pro-Am day, and he got the caddy for Jason Day.
Oh, that's cool.
So that's certainly a cool memory.
Yep. Brooks Koepka, also who's got ties to the Mountain State, finished 12th. Tied for 12th, along with Jason Day. There was a slew of guys that finished at 5 under today. Of course, Brooks' dad is a Bridgeport High School graduate.
Is there a sign? Do you put a sign up for Brooks? Do you count him? You're a Bridgeport native.
Well, it's his dad.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not him. He's from Florida. So, Texter wants us to identify all the men's basketball recruits who have visited and the recruits you expect us to sign. Yeah, it's still a little early for that. Some of them have leaked, some of them have not. It usually takes some time for that to happen.
This is the first weekend, so they've had only a couple of days of visits that were allowed, so it's very early for that. And you know what? We'll never be able to tell you everybody. I mean, I'll be perfectly honest with you with that. I can hopefully over time we'll be able to get you some names, but some of them are sort of secret and clouded by mystery.
Yep. And speaking of that, Texter says, if I recall correctly, the NIL for football is about $20 million. However, I don't remember how much money is involved in basketball. Heard any numbers kicked around what the total pot is?
Haven't heard an exact number.
10
I mean,
range.
in terms of, again, you're talking about two separate pots of money, right? You're talking about the rev share number, which is the total for the entire athletic department, is $20.5 million that you can award to student athletes. And West Virginia's said they're going to fully fund, but that goes to every athlete. I mean, you can break it up however you want. Most schools are putting upwards of 70% into football. So, say $14 million in that range. 20% to basketball. So another $4 to $5 million there. And then the remainder spliced up, mainly going to women's basketball and baseball. Maybe very small amounts to the others, very small amounts. So that's the straight revenue sharing number. Then the over-the-cap NIL number, again, that's supposed to be a little bit limited based on the House settlement and the rules through that. But as we found nationally, that's not true. There's still pretty much whatever your donors can come up with for you to offer, you can offer. I don't know what West Virginia's numbers are for basketball, to be honest with you. I know Rich has sort of indicated some things in terms of football, but again, that'll never be known officially.
Mm-hmm.
West Virginia, through their Golden Blue Enterprises, that's I don't want to call it it's an entity within the athletic department, but it also is not putting their numbers out there publicly as well. Someday that may have to change. I'm not certain that stands up in court to those that can fight it. But because of that, we don't know what the exact NIL numbers are for any one person or even any one program.
All right,
That's
Coach
the
Hunter.
above the cap NIL beyond in revenue sharing. We don't even know what the revenue sharing numbers are for individuals, but we can tell you for programs.
Take me back to Wednesday and some of your observations. I know you didn't. You'll see more on Saturday along with everybody else, but as you walked in there, just take me through your mindset. What were you looking for in particular?
Well, it's certainly when you, at least for me, trying to identify all the new people that are there. Now, on recent teams, that's a lot of new people, right? So, okay, where is such and such? And again, obviously I'm no different than others. I want to get a look at Mike Hawkins at quarterback. What does he look like? Me being me, I went over and took a close look at a lot of the offensive linemen, so many of whom are new, some of the wide receivers, and, the newness there. Again, quick glimpse at running back, though, admittedly, the running backs were just going through drills. So it can be really easy to look good in drills, especially as a running back, because they all typically look pretty good on the hoof. But offensive line, I was impressed by what I saw out of those guys. They've got size and movement ability that I don't think was there across the board last year. I think there are a lot of them. Devin Voss was the Kansas State transfer was hurt, so I sort of wanted to see him. He having started at a Power 4 program in the past, but he's hurt, so he wasn't available to keep an eye on him. But I think for the most part, though, I'll tell you what, one of the guys that, again, these are drills, but somebody that really intrigued me by movement was actually a returnee, and we've talked about him a little bit in the past, but Malik Agbo, who was mainly a backup last year, formerly a transfer from Texas. He caught my eye. I remember going to practice last year and standing around and, talking to people, and look at him. He moves really well. Now, at Texas, he started out as an offensive lineman. They tried to make him a tight end, so they asked him to lose a good bit of weight, and he was down to about 275 and transferred to West Virginia. So he was still underweight when he got here last year, but he's now back up to over 300 and continues to have movement skills that are pretty elite for a tackle. And he's a guy I think, we hadn't talked a whole lot about in the offseason, but when you watch him, really may have an opportunity to start for West Virginia, or at least make a strong push for a starting job at tackle. I think you got 3 tackles that are really going to contend. Certainly Kevin Brown, the true freshman, is one of those, but Karsten Cassidy, transfer from UConn, is the other. I think you got 3 tackles that all look really good for West Virginia. Nick Cray, who started at tackle for West Virginia last year and is still very much a prominent member of this team, but at least in the practice we saw, played exclusively at guard. So he may kick down inside, and that'll leave those other 3 battling for the 2 tackle jobs, and probably sort of some rotation. I think West Virginia be much more willing, if they have multiple players that are good enough to play, to rotate a little bit more than they have the last couple of years when they were lucky to get 5.
All right. What do you think of Hawkins? What did you think of Kevin Brown? And tell me your thoughts of what you saw in terms of the receivers.
Start with Hawkins. Everything we heard looks to be true. Really good movement ability. He's not, Pat White, but moves really well. Not a tall stature quarterback or real thick, but is certainly adequate in terms of both. Has a nice quick release, though a bit of a low slot angle for his throws, so a little bit of a unique throwing motion, but gets rid of the ball really well and seems to have a ton of velocity and gets to where it's supposed to go. So But, the first thing you notice is, that's a little bit of a low slot angle from the traditional view of a quarterback. But I think everything else, and it didn't seem to impede his, his passes. Now, could have eventually that caused a little bit problems trying to get it over a tall defensive player, trying to knock it down. Okay, I'll let somebody else worry about that. But everything else looked good. I thought Scotty Fox looked really good as well. So the top two quarterbacks we keep talking about, again, in drill portions, I didn't see anything that would separate the two of them. Let's see. You also, I know you talked about
Kevin Brown.
Kevin
wide
Brown,
receivers.
again, exactly what we thought. You look at him and you go, he doesn't look like a freshman. He looks like a man out there. With the knowledge, though, that he's got probably 20 more pounds he'll be able to add in a heartbeat. He's probably 285, 290 right now. Looks good, moves well, does everything right, and is only going to get a little bit bigger and stronger as he moves forward. Liked what I saw out of him. Wide receivers, I think they've got some. I think the Prince Stratton kid, again, some of the stuff we saw out of him in this, you go, ooh, okay. He's got size. We know that at 6'5", 210, but ran really well and seemed to be able to make some plays after the catch. Now, again, it's drills, so what's that mean when you're making plays after the catch in drills? But still thought he was a guy that looked like he could be really dynamic for West Virginia. Out of the newcomers, he's the one I came away from going, oh, okay. He really intrigues me as you move forward. So Jaden Bray, obviously, we know about what he can do. The only question on Jaden is just, can he stay healthy? Can he finally get lucky enough and avoid an injury that really costs him significant time? So there are others at wide receiver, but I'll admit Prince was a guy that stuck out to me real quick. Unfair assessment of people in the short period of time I have, but give you what I saw.
Sounds good. All right, let's hear from Rich Rodriguez again from the latest that he spoke with the media about 3 days ago. Let's listen in.
Today, we got about 50 to 60 plays in a scrimmage format. Kind of split the team up, try to treat it like a game best we could without the coaches on the field. The squads were intermixed, with some veterans and some young guys and all that. So I thought we got a little better just from a competitive standpoint. Thought we tackled a little better, made a few plays. Watched the film to see how we executed, but it was, I don't. After the last practice, I didn't know that we took a step after the last practice. After this practice, I felt that we did, just from a standpoint of how to play, the intensity level, engagement level. Doing some of the things that we taught, tackling wise, blocking wise, and all that. So it was good. And it was, that way we're not practicing the end of the week. I've got a function to go to end of the week. So we'll meet and lift the next couple of days, and then get 3 practices in next week.
So, Rich, I know often you expressed frustration last year of inability to make short yardage plays. And I know it was an emphasis for you. So through the spring, you see improvement in that? Yeah, a little bit. I still think there's a little bit of a work in progress somewhat too. But I know I'm not going to put my hands up and do anything there. But it starts up front, coming off the ball. And we're making progress with that. It starts with the physicality from the running backs, which we have a couple of guys that are running pretty hard downhill, and the quarterback making good decisions as well. So that's obviously going to continue to be a point of emphasis for us. Speaking of running backs, we saw a guy out there I hadn't known was on the roster for Kid from Temple. Yeah, Darius, right? Yeah, he's we wanted a bigger guy, and he was out there. He's a physical guy, and he's still learning what we're doing, but he's shown some glimpses of doing some good stuff out there. I thought Chris Talley made some nice runs today. Mateus Boswell made some nice runs. Andre Devine
runs really hard. He's got a chance to help us too. I really think he did some good stuff and showed some flashes today too. We didn't give Cam. Cam is a really good learner. I mean, he's a sharp guy. We didn't give him a whole lot of reps in the live period. He got some reps in our thud period, but we'll get him some more reps too because I want to make sure he knows the offense. But he's a proven guy to us. But we still do some things differently, schematically, than he's had before. So we're going to make sure we got to work him into that.
Latimer run like a big guy.
Yeah, he is. He's a physical guy, and he's still learning. Like when you could tell the decisiveness that anybody, whether it's a running back, receiver, quarterback, the decisiveness that they have when they truly understand what we're doing. And he's a sharp guy. You know, football's important to him. He's got a lot of skills, and so I like the progress he's making for sure.
So in the return game, what do you want to see from somebody to give them the spot as the kickoff punt returner? And then in that group?
Yeah, that's the hardest thing to probably. I don't think I've done a good job with the special teams live. It's kind of hard to do that live, and we're going to probably dedicate one of our practices next week to being at least half of it being special teams and doing some stuff so I can tell. You know, we're catching the ball okay, but we haven't done anything kick return wise and punt return wise, so I can evaluate those punt returners. So we got to do more of that next week.
Is Devine in the mix for that?
Yeah, he could be. I think other guys are probably in front of him on a punt return. Now, kick returns probably he's probably got a chance to be in that as well.
When you're out on the field and you see a big play, what goes through your mind? Is it the missed assignment?
Am I pissed at the offense or defense for giving up a big play? You know, partially that. Like, why did it happen? Or was it? I'm hoping that both sides executed and one guy just made a play over another guy, whether it's right side or whatever side it was. So, you know, you want that to happen. And sometimes, you know, big plays are happening because it was the right call one way or another. Sometimes it was a guy making a mistake. You know, a lot of times it's athletic ability. I think we're more athletic than this time last year. But I remember this time last year, we still had another portal period. We still were going to lose guys and get guys. Other than, like I said, a handful of freshmen aren't here yet. This is who we got. And so it's good that I see the athleticism, see the ability to make some big plays. But I know this, when guys know what they're doing, completely know what they're doing, they play faster. And we played a little faster today, I think, but we're not playing nearly as fast as we'll be playing mid-August.
What do you think of Malik Agbo? Looks like he's taking a stride.
Yeah, he's gained weight. I mean, he was big at one time, and he got skinnier. And last year he played at a lighter weight. Now he's back over 300-some pounds. He's a great young man. It's really important to him. You know, he's a good learner. He can play both sides, right and left. And so he, you know, obviously played a lot for us last year, but he's going to be one of our key cogs. And we want to have 8 guys that can play up front. I think we can get 10. I really do. I think we can have 10 guys that we can feel comfortable playing with. But I say that, you know, with still 3 practices and a whole summer to get ready for it.
Is Cam Mullery, I think I'm saying, or not Cam Mullery.
Cam Mallory?
No, Darius Wiley. Is he one of the biggest defensive linemen that you've had?
Tallest.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, he made a couple plays today. He's an athletic guy, and obviously he's got great size, great length, get off the edge. He's got some experience. So we kind of targeted. We needed pass rushers. You know, we had some guys that were graduating and all that, and we're trying to get our guys to not just put pressure on the quarterback, but be able to bat passes down. To me, that's a learned skill. That's a skill that we have to teach guys about, whether it's quick game and getting your hands up, or RPO, getting your hands up when you're not going to get a sack, but you can affect the play. That's, you know, there are some guys think, well, that's natural, and sometimes it is natural, but it's also a learned skill that you could try. You know, I told everybody, I said the best I ever seen at it, no surprise, was J.J. Watt. And playing against him, I mean, he had an unbelievable knack about when to get his hands up to bat passes down. Probably has an all-time record, whatever it was. I know in college it was amazing what he would do, and I always remember that. I said, look at this guy. He's effective in getting sacks, but he's effective in a lot of other plays because he had a great knack of of batting balls down. And so we're trying to teach that every day.
I know you mentioned obviously putting offensive linemen in multiple positions. Are there any guys that you have kind of locked in at tackle, or not for roster or depth chart sake, but just are playing solely tackle, or are you still moving a lot of them around?
Yeah, I think the newer guys like a Kevin Brown, he could play right tackle, play left tackle, but I don't think we've done anything with him at guard. Agbo the same way. He can go right or left, but we're putting him strictly at tackle. Deshaun Woods strictly at tackle. Who else? Landon Livingston can play them all. Nick Craig can play guard and tackle. I'm trying to think who else do we have. I'm probably missing somebody. Yeah, Cassidy, he's just strictly tackle. Devin Voss, he's been injured, so I don't know whether he can play inside and outside. I think he has. But Coach Trick has always done a good job of getting guys to learn not just guard or tackle, but right and left. And you need to do that because of the long season. And that's some line coaches. A lot of line coaches are afraid to do that because you want to get guy his footwork or his assignment, his steps, whatever, just in one side. And Trick does a good job of letting them play both sides. And then our format now with our teams being split up, they're being forced to do multiple positions. So that's one of the benefits of doing this.
How do you feel with the depth at center?
I feel a lot better, than we've had because we have guys like Cam Griffin can play all 5 positions, including center. Landon Livingston can play all 5 positions, including center. Wes King is playing mostly center, but he could probably play guard as well. And I'm thinking Bubba Grayson could play center if he wanted to. I think LaMarcus Dillard is playing guard and center. So we always get a bunch of guys to snap. The most. And in fact, Matt, while you said that today, I don't think we had any bad snaps today. We were struggling a little bit, and I was losing my voice. But I didn't think we had any today, so that's good.
Your Jacksonville State offensive linemen, have they picked it up like there was no miss for them?
Yeah.
Right back in gear?
With Bubba and Cam.
Yeah.
Yeah, they did a lot of similar stuff last year. The terminology was different, but some of the schemes. The biggest thing is some of the drill work that the O-line do that are base drills for any scheme transitioned over. In fact, it helped our guys, those two coming over, helped our guys. Hey, this is what he wants, what we want out of this drill. That's what we want out of this technique. And so, yeah, and then the terminology part, it was like easy for Cam and Bubba both.
Did you have a chance to get Scotty or Mike, live today?
I didn't go live. I put on a black shirt. And, I'm debating. I want to maybe do that because it allows them to play more realistic. But both of them, they've got game experience, so I'm not worried. Are they going to wilt? And when there's pressure, neither one of them will. I mean, their mentality is I'm not worried about them panicking under pressure or anything like that. So it sometimes hurts them more because they're both athletic and both can run, and it hurts them more when it ain't live, when you have to go tackle them. Like Max Brown today made several plays running the ball. We let him be live, and it was good to see because he needed to do that. But the other two were in a two-hand touch jersey.
Caden Luke, does he practices mostly with the tight ends?
Mostly with the tight ends, but we probably need to give him some short yardage. In fact, I'm glad you said that because I thought I mentioned it and we didn't do it today. So our coaches will thank you for me getting on him, for not giving him any reps today. Because that's back up. I'm back. Mark that down, Raquel, so I'll make sure we got to get Caden got to get him some running back reps because he can do that a little bit. And we need to do that because we don't have a bunch of big backs.
Wide receiver, how do you feel about the progression of wide receiver? That's a very important.
Yeah, the veteran guys a little bit. I mean, we know what Jaden is. I think Prince is getting better. He's a big body guy. John Nider's an experienced guy. DJ Epps can play inside outside. We're finding more guys. Deron Francis is playing inside outside. My goal would be at the end of spring, they know at least 2 of them. If they can learn all 3 receiver positions by the end of summer, it's going to be pretty good. And there's more guys doing more positions now than a week ago. By the end of the summer, every wideout needs to be able to play every position.
There are some that in this era of the sport especially believe that to win a championship, you need a premier receiver. You need a true number 1.
Yeah.
Do you agree with that? And do you
think I think it certainly helps to have that guy, like the Jeremiah Smith kind of guy that, that's a top 5 draft pick. Yeah, who doesn't want that, right?
Sure.
You know what I mean?
But I mean, just even an impact number 1 for your team. It's above the rest.
Yeah, I don't think, I think it helps to have a guy that that no matter who it is at corner, he can win it. But realistically, you want to have more than 1. You want to have 2. So that safety can't come over the top of just one guy and leave that guy one-on-one all the time. You want him to have to play split safeties or play more zone. You know what I mean? I think that's the whole key. I think when you have just one, I've had one guy that was clearer better than the others a lot of times. You can try to find ways to isolate them, but they can always adjust to that. When you're impactful on both ends, on the perimeter, it's a lot harder to hide a corner that might get beat.
Rich, you talk so much about versatile players in multiple roles of position. You got a lot of older players who just played a lot of college football and seen a bunch of things. Do you still have room for specialists, like a guy who's just really fast that can take handoffs or bubbles or return kicks, or maybe just a pure pass rusher who maybe isn't great against the run? Is there a spot for them? Can they still do that, or is the game...
Sure. I think if and that's part of what we're trying to do now, and what we'll try to do over the summer and August is, okay, this guy, he's a great pass rusher. He might not hold up on a power play or something. Hold on, we try to get our guys to play everything. But if they have a particular skill set that they're really good at, that's on us to make sure that we utilize that to a certain degree. And to me, I think most coaches try to do that anyway. But we also sometimes got to simplify things. I don't think, and then I've told you this, I have to tell our coaches, I got really sharp coaches, and they work really hard, and they have great ideas and great plans. I said, but sometimes, simplifying things so the guy can play to his fullest ability and play faster is the best way to go initially, and then grow from that. And so I don't mind telling you, I've made the coaches have a defense can only make this many calls. You can't have 50 defensive calls the rest of spring. Offense, it's a fraction of the offense that we're going to have, a quarter of the plays maybe. Not even that. That's all we're going to run the rest of the spring. And I want to see how we execute those, what we do in those, before we add on a bunch of stuff on offense or defense. Because we got to evaluate our guys more, and we got to get guys fundamentally ready to play as well. And if you do too many schemes, too much stuff, that slows that progress.
Does that help some of those so-called specialists? I can't think of a better word, but somebody who has a small contribution, does that help them stand out earlier?
I don't know. I think, we don't ever recruit somebody because, he's just a jet sweep guy, not all he can do. Now, that might be his strength, but we're not, we kind of – and nobody wants to be recruited or coached like, you're just a third down pass rusher. Now they want to play every down. So, that we'll make the determination, but we don't want to limit anybody right now. That makes sense.
All right, Rich Rodriguez from earlier in the week. We'll take a break. When we come back, we'll talk a little defense, hear from Rod West, the Mountaineers cornerback coach. He's next.
The WVU Center for Reproductive Medicine is here to help your family grow. 1 in 8 couples has difficulty getting pregnant or maintaining a pregnancy. Our providers are prepared to offer the best in care and comfort with customized treatment plans. Our state-of-the-art facility on Pineview Drive offers a private and convenient location near Ruby Memorial Hospital. To learn more, visit wvumedicine.org/CRM.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The Health Plan, we are here for you.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
Longer days, warmer drives, and better deals at Dan Cava GMC. Hit the road in one of our new luxury GMC Acadias. Take your pick from our massive selection. Now up to $5,500 off select new Acadias and 3.9% for 60 months. The great deals continue with our large selection of quality pre-owned vehicles. All this and more at Dan Cava GMC in Bridgeport. Shop the world.
With Metro News Hotline, if it's trending, it's probably here.
And then the other thing, his last name is one of those weird Norwegian names where they have two vowels that slam into each other. It's like the A and the E are like cemented into each other.
You're like the 12th Dave that works here. What do you think people from Norwegian think about that?
That is fair.
Join Dave Weekly and Coop weekdays for Hotline on Metro News Television.
Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Patients who have allergies and sinusitis, they have worse quality of life on many levels. At the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center, we provide all the most recent technology in office procedures to help patients who cannot breathe through their nose. Patients come in, within half an hour they can leave. Whatever problem with the sinus and allergy you're having, we can help you get the right treatment.
Welcome back on this Sunday night, talking Mountaineer football. Had some interviews this past week, including Mountaineer corner coach Rod West met with the media.
Coaches, questions for Coach West, Greg?
So, Rod, just start with the general. You got a lot of new guys in your room, a couple of guys, at least we know their names, but give us the overview of your corners.
Yeah, like you said, a lot of new faces. We had a kind of a point of emphasis, wanting to get some bigger guys. So I think we definitely addressed that. We have several guys that 6'2", 6'3" corners. I think in this league, people spread you out a lot and make you be in some one-on-one matchups. And we just think philosophically, having some more length would help us kind of win some of those matchups. But so far so good. I think the guys are grasping not just the playbook, but getting used to not only how I coach, but what our expectations are and what the culture here in West Virginia is. So far so good. Not at all satisfied. Got a long way to go, but I'm pleased with our progress thus far.
So you explained it a little bit, but length at corners, how vital is that? I mean, where does that rank compared to speed, athleticism, those other type of things?
Well, there's definitely a sliding scale. That's a great question. You don't want to sacrifice movement for size. So the tricky part is getting guys that can, get in and out of breaks, that can run, but also have the length. And for us, I think the length shows up a lot, obviously on the vertical balls, the one-on-one balls, but also I think the biggest area that gets overlooked is just open field tackling. When you're a smaller guy, you have to be perfect at almost everything just to get a bigger dude on the ground in space. So the game of football is tough enough. Open field tackles are very difficult, especially with the caliber athletes in this league. So obviously, I think the more size you have a little bit more room for error. You don't have to be perfect, and you still can get the guy on the ground.
You feel better. I mean, obviously it's early, but you feel better about the overall depth, your offense.
I do. I think, it's obviously a long time before the first game. Still have a lot of work to do, but I think we have a variety of young men who can help us win football games in different facets. And again, with the size aspect, they're also going to help on special teams. I think it makes you a little bit more versatile. And man coverage, zone concepts, you playing cover 2, you should have better reroutes with bigger people. You can get off blocks. So I think we'll definitely have some more pieces to play with.
The size that you're mainly looking for when you're retooling the group?
Well, we want the size, but we also wanted guys who were productive at their prior school. So whenever we hit the portal for guys, we don't just recruit off of potential. We like recruiting production. So everybody that we brought in were highly productive players at their prior school. If you're talking about Chums, he did a really good job at Georgia State. Jair played probably 800 snaps at Kent State, and not just 800 snaps, but they played, I think, 3 or 4 Power 4 teams. So you can see them competing against guys at the highest level at their position. Then with Day and Rayshon at Hutch, Hutch, I think one of the top junior colleges in the country. They're consistently in a championship game. Both of those guys did a really good job there. So we just tried to target guys who we know can be productive at this level, and without projecting too much. Like you see it on film, and like I said, try to make sure we got a lot of production in the room. Whenever you're replacing 5-6 people, there's going to be a void in terms of playing times. Between Scooter Scruggs, Jason Chambers, and Mike Coates, there was a lot of football that was played last year we had to replace. So it was a point of emphasis not just to get bigger, but to get guys who we know can come in and be productive.
Evaluating a guy in your recruiting, how much do you need to see to know?
In terms of the film?
How much tape or in person? How much do you know?
That's a great question now, especially now with the portal. Everything is kind of accelerated. So the old days of recruiting where you get to know the kid and, you see him move around 2 or 3 times. You have just a smaller sample time to get everything done. But even more than ever, when you are paying guys from the rev share, you have to make sure you do your homework. So still got to do your homework just in a smaller time frame. I think the biggest thing is knowing exactly what you're trying to ID on film. So for us, we want guys who play with a hard edge. You can turn the film on and within 10 plays if they fit what you're doing. And then I think, talking to the people that in the profession, not just guys that coach them, but guys that played against them. And, you want to get guys that love football and that's tough. So I think we did that.
You talked about the length, obviously 6'2", 6'3" guys. Jair's not that. He's a smaller guy. You mentioned his production, but what else did you guys like about it?
Great question. So we wanted to get bigger. So I'm almost, when I put together my position room, I think about it like, you're constructing a basketball roster because you're going to have different matchups. We may face somebody this season that has a 5'10", 5'11", just ultra quick and twitchy outside receiver. So Jair can be a great guy at certain matchups to say, all right, he doesn't have the size. All right, but to your question earlier, he has a little bit more quickness than some of the other guys. He's extremely smart. And what I would say about him, the good thing about the portal, certain guys that you may see in high school, you have questions about the size, how it translates. The good thing with him, he had 800 reps, at a FBS program. So you can see the film. You see his compete level jumps out, and he's extremely smart and instinctive football player.
So Hutch is a very good junior college, but trying to evaluate junior college kids, because you got a mixture of JCs and 4-year transfers. How do you mix and match those? And is there something you like better than another when it comes to a 4-year kid over a JUCO?
I just like really good football players, regardless of if they're from high school, junior college, or from another Division I school out of the portal. The thing I will say about Hutch is I've had some long-standing relationship with a lot of guys on that staff, so I trust them, and typically what they say is pretty solid. But we went out there, saw him practice during the playoffs, saw him moving around, and I knew they were guys that fit what we're trying to build here.
So they can play right away. They can make the transition without.
That's the plan. We typically try not to recruit guys that we don't think can come in and help compete to play right away. So still a lot of work to be done, but like I said, so far I'm pleased with the progress that they've been making.
Was that a situation where one of them popped on your radar first and it brought you to the other one, or kind of both at the same time?
Great question. There were 3 cornerbacks that Hutch rotated, and I felt bad because I knew I couldn't take all 3 of them. So I went and watched them, and we were honest with the coaches and the players and said, hey, man, this basically, I'm watching y'all practice. I'm taking 2. So, kind of see that their compete level off the start. And, I think they were kind of taken aback by it a little bit because I don't think a lot of coaches would be that honest with them. I think the other kid ended up going to Utah in the end. But, we got the 2 that we targeted after that day.
I guess to simplify it even more for the fan, are these players that you, just in general of what you're looking for, whether it be looking at Group of 5 players, FCS, or from junior colleges, are players that stand out exponentially that you can tell, like, they're above this level, even though that's where they're playing now? Like, what is it even about a player that you can tell when they're at the junior college level that they can play in the Big 12? Because the average fan may think that's a big jump.
Great question. I think the biggest thing is trying to see that compete level. So what do we mean by that? If I turn the film on, I watch 10 plays, are you dominating the guy across from you? Not just dominating, like, do you ever concede anything? We have a saying, don't concede anything. Like, I want to see guys that strain and bust their tail every play from whistle to whistle. So that jumps out on film. And we try, before we take anybody, we try to see them move around in person. And every guy we have in that room, I had eyes on personally, and the film checked out, but also when you get in the building, get where they are, everybody in that locker room, they respect them. Their kids are high character, and they respect the work they put in on and off the field. So, number one, it has to jump off on the film, but also you got to go see it with your own eyes as well.
Not to get too caught up in the size, but I just wondered from evaluation, is it tricky not to be too hard on someone who's tall because maybe he just has gifts and maybe he gets away with some stuff that could get exposed? Or do you have to ask more of someone who's smaller just to make sure that a height deficiency is going to be a problem? I don't know if that makes sense, but I can see it going either way.
That makes perfect sense. A great question. The thing I would say is, so when you recruit smaller guys, they have to be extremely confident. They got to have a high compete level, and they have to have great composure, because there are going to be a few scenarios throughout the season that they're going to get put in a tough spot, and they may not make the play, but they have to shake it off. And I like saying this. I use Garrett. He's the smallest guy in the room. He's been the smallest guy on the field for a long time, so he's used to that. He's not going to be shocked once we go and play the first game and the receiver's 6'2". He's used to doing that. He's comfortable in those positions, and you've seen it at the Division I level. You've seen him be highly effective doing it at the Division I level. So that checks a lot of boxes. To the first part of the question about coaching bigger guys differently, I think as a coach, you have to equip the guys with tools, and you don't coach every kid the same. You hold them to the same expectation, the same level of preparation, but chums won't do the same techniques that Jared would do, So it's my job to equip them with the tools to get the job done, if that makes sense. So I coach them the same in terms of the requirements, the effort, but once you get to the technical part, it's kind of a give and take where I know a bigger guy can get away with some stuff, so I may tell him to be a little bit more aggressive. Whereas Jair, a smaller guy, he may be a little bit more limited in certain spaces, so he may play a certain technique a little more conservative.
Coach, what's more important to you, reliability or productivity?
Both. I mean, that's a great question. Obviously, production is the name of the game. We want guys who can make plays, but by the same token, if you make all the plays but you can't stay healthy or you're not reliable, then that all that is potential at that point. So we want guys who we can depend on, who can be accountable, who can be reliable, but also once they're out there, they can make the plays.
All right, that's Mountaineer cornerback coach Rod West. Take one, more football talk when we return.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
If you have a child who's a junior in high school in West Virginia or know someone that does, please listen up. Here's your opportunity to win a full scholarship from West Virginia Wesleyan College that includes room, board, tuition, and fees. The 19th Annual West Virginia Scholar Program is presented by ZMM Architects and Engineers and the West Virginia Farm Bureau. The deadline is May 3rd. For details, go to wvmetronews.com to apply. That's wvmetronews.com. Remember, application deadline is May 3rd.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You want to know what West Virginia is talking about?
It's good to be back in Morgantown today.
Now it's different.
I think it's mostly just business.
What I voted for and what I think makes the most sense.
Well, Dave, this has been a bit of a controversy.
I want to thank the caller last week that said I sounded like Hoppy Kurtzwell. That was flattering.
Join Dave Wilson and TJ Meadows Monday through Friday for Talkline on Metro News Television.
Patients who have allergies and sinusitis, they have worse quality of life on many levels. At the WVU Medicine Sinus and Allergy Center, we provide all the most recent technology in office procedures to help patients who cannot breathe through their nose. Patients come in, within half an hour they can leave. Whatever problem with the sinus and allergy you're having, we can help you get the right treatment.
Leading the efforts to build a stronger West Virginia, the High Technology Foundation has a proven plan to strengthen and diversify our state's economy. The I-79 Technology Park's high-capacity infrastructure continues to attract advanced federal operations that are driving economic growth. This keeps our young, educated residents in the state and brings West Virginians home. The High Technology Foundation, building a stronger West Virginia. Learn more today at wvhtf.org.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
The Health Plan proudly supports our active and healthy communities and has been your most trusted carrier for over 40 years. Log on to healthplan.org for more information.
We are there for you, to care for you at the Health Plan. We are here for you.
All right, let's listen in to Ryan Garrett, Mountaineers wide receiver coach. Hear what he had to say to the media this week.
So, Ryan, just start with the basics. Give me an overview of your position and what you see other receivers.
Yeah, I think right now everybody's competing pretty good. We were trying to build a deeper group this year, obviously with a full year to recruit. We were able to hit in a lot of different areas, whether that be transfer, high school guys, or even a couple JUCO players. You know, that was the goal, was kind of cover our bases and really just look for the most talented guys that we could find, not really worry about where they were coming from. I think right now those guys I've been pleased with their intention to work and the way they've attacked it. You know, we've got to continue to improve. Learning the offense with so many new guys is obviously big, but I think we have the right mindset. We just got to get them ready to play this fall.
More guys that are open by birth, maybe?
I hope so. You know, we'll see when we start playing. I don't. You never want to anoint anybody, but we definitely feel like we're a lot deeper. Yep, no doubt. Size, speed, were obviously two big things to hit on, you know, and I think we did hit on that physically. Now they just have to play this fall and make some plays.
Teron Francis, what have you seen from him so far this year?
Yeah, Teron's been good. I have to remind myself he's only 20 years old. You know, he had his freshman year at LSU, and that was it. If you see him, he looks like a grown man. So there are times where I got to remind myself, hey, he's still young. There may be some certain things that he hasn't been taught yet, but he's coming along well. He's a guy that we're going to ask to do a lot of different things, and I think he has the ability to help us in a lot of ways. So just want to continue to challenge him to grow up and be able to help us wherever he can, and he's been willing to do that so far. So excited for his future here.
With so much turnover, how much does it help to have a guy like Jaden Bray that's been here, done that?
Oh, more than you know. You know, Jaden is Jaden does everything the right way. He's a pro from the way we meet, from the way he practices every single day, and the way he treats his teammates. I have to get on to him sometimes. He's a really, really nice guy, and it stands out in everything that he does, and that's a good thing for sure. But he's definitely good to have around those guys, and he's really embraced a leadership role, I feel, a lot more this season than in the past. So excited for what he could do this year. I think he's bought into West Virginia and doing things the right way.
I guess if there's a guy that deserves good luck, it's that guy.
No doubt he does. So he's going to work his butt off, and hopefully the results will come this fall.
Last year, obviously, winning contested balls one-on-one was an issue, and I know that's a focus for this year. Can you truly evaluate that in one-on-ones out here, or even shell 7-on-7, or does it have to be 11-on-11 for you to get a true picture of, hey, can this guy win this on this route?
No, I think we can evaluate that in everything we do. We track it. If you guys go in my meeting room, we've got a board where we track their grade every day, from MAs, loafs, softs, completions, targets, completion percentage, contested balls, and really going back and looking at what they need to work on specifically. But I think you could see that kind of stuff in everything you do, whether it's one-on-ones, skelly, obviously full team reps, and even in drill work, we have to be working on those types of things to make sure that we're developing them, and these guys have attacked it. I think our off-season catching plan was something that I really focused on with Coach Nealon, helped me a lot with. We had the guys up here every morning at 7:30, working throughout the winter and just working the types of catches that we're going to make in games. And that was an area of focus for me and for our room to get better at. They've worked their butts off, and we've tracked it the entire time. And look, we're blessed here, man. Everything we do is filmed, from our drill work to skelly to team. So we can go back as coaches and we label it, Jaden Bray can see every rep he's taken. He can go in, sort it by number 5, and there it is. We have the route in. We see what he's completing at a high rate, maybe some things if they're not completing at a high rate, and that way we can focus on what we need to fix.
So do you have an example or two of, hey, when you're doing those individual things you're talking about, getting your hands turned the right way, position, or is it just huge?
If I had a football in here, I'd show you guys. We should have one in here. But a big thing, I always challenge them to keep their hands up. We went back and looked. We did a study in all of college football in the NFL the last 2 seasons, and you're actually over 100% more likely to drop the football if you flip your hands, wherever that is. So you just said it. That's a key coaching point. If you look in our drill work, we have our footballs painted. The tips, both sides of the football are painted blue and gold. So when we're doing our drill work, they have to yell out blue, gold, whatever they're catching right there. That way I can make sure their eyes are on the right place at the tip of the football and they're bringing their hands there. So there's a million different ways to coach it in coaching points. We've hit on that. I think we've really emphasized that all off season, and we're starting to see some results of that right now.
A couple of highly regarded JUCO kids in Hutchinson Triplett. So what have you seen out of them? Are JUCO kids typically as far ahead as 4-year transfers, or a little bit behind?
Yeah. I think it really depends on the kid. First of all, both of those guys can really, really run, and that's what we wanted them for. They stand out. I think they're 2 of the fastest players on our team right now. In my experience, I think a JUCO guy can be better than a transfer. I think a transfer guy can be better than a JUCO guy. There's a lot of different reasons why a kid ends up in JUCO. Maybe they were at a smaller school and were under-recruited. That was their only option. Maybe it was a great thing. It's just a matter of them making the most of it. I personally have really enjoyed having both those kids and recruiting them. You talk about a kid where you try to find their hard edge. You can find that in JUCO guys a lot of times, because they've gone through it. They're not used to everything we have here, and they come in, they're ready to work and really embrace it. So both those guys can run. I think they fill those voids for us, and they're both going to have the opportunity this fall.
All right, there's Ryan Garrett, WVU wide receiver coach. Coach Hunter got more interviews coming this week, right?
Yeah. You're going to have opportunities on Monday and Wednesday this week with Rich and various Mountaineer citizens, Travis Trickett and Pat Kirkland. So a couple guys with West Virginia roots, and then players as well, all wrapping up on Saturday with Spring Festival.
All right, we'll take a final break, close it out, when we come back.
We are there for you, to care for you at the health plan. We are here for you.
For over 4 decades, we've been rooted deep inside West Virginia. Through thick and thin, supporting local families and businesses. Proudly serving your neighborhood since 1979. Your trusted partner in the community.
The health plan, we are here for you.
Some relationships just work better with trust, reliability, and great communication. That's why more West Virginians are choosing CityNet Gig Fiber. Fast, symmetrical speeds, no contracts, no data caps, and local teams monitoring the network around the clock. Plus, for a limited time, new residential customers can get 50% off any internet plan for a full year, with plans starting as low as $25 a month. Check availability at your address. Visit citynet.net today. CityNet connects, protects, and perfects.
Live from the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline returns in 2 minutes on Metro News, the voice of West Virginia.
You know CityNet is West Virginia's leading technology company. Whether we're managing IT infrastructures, protecting the critical data and networks of our region's businesses, or providing fiber broadband, TV, and phone services, we are your go-to experts. We're also a strong partner in the communities in which we serve. CityNet, your trusted technology partner. Learn more about us, visit citynet.net.
Sunshine, open roads, and a new Toyota from Dan Cava Toyota World. Lease an all-new Camry for as low as $398 a month. All new Tundras now up to $8,000 off. All new Tacomas now up to $4,500 off or lease as low as $399 a month. $7,500 off the new BZ or 0% financing for 72 months. We've got a Toyota for you at Dan Cava Toyota World in Fairmont. Shop the world.
We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you. We've got it down to a science, an absolute state of art. We do it all, restoration, cleaning, and reconstruction. When disaster strikes, just pick up the phone. We're Panhandle Cleaning and Restoration, and we're gonna save you.
Stay connected to what's happening today in West Virginia.
What about this and what about that? And it just went back and forth. And I was just the guy reading the text. Okay, so what's your take on the whole thing?
Well, now you just get me fired up. Now you just
So I'm
going.
gonna turn on. I'm gonna run down to Wendy's and grab a burger, and I'll be back.
Join Dave Allen weekdays for midday on Metro News Television.
All right, Sportsline continues, and we are just about out of time for tonight. Again, the Mountaineer baseball team with a big win in this weekend series at Texas Tech. Updated standings with that series win this weekend. The Mountaineers move into a tie for second place with UCF, both 10-5. Kansas 12-3 in the Big 12. West Virginia, of course, 24-8 overall. Kansas 26-10, UCF 20-12 following this weekend. Mentioned Houston coming in next weekend as the next Big 12 series. They're currently in the basement in the conference standings, just 3-12 overall in conference play. Have a great week, everybody. We will talk to you again next Sunday night for the Sportsline here on Metro News. Good night.
From the Health Plan Studios, the CityNet statewide Sportsline is an exclusive production of the Metro News Radio Network. All rights reserved.